we're going to talk about what happened in Philly. So pretty much what happened in Philly yesterday, there was a police shooting, and then a riot happened. And Doc actually didn't know about this before we started, so I'm going to real quick start it out with showing a video so Doc can get a grasp of what's going on, and then we're going to react to the video and then progress to the discussion. So the video first starts out with some footage of the riot that ensued, so I got to skip forward to when the actual thing happened, which is right about here. Boom. Little graphic footage, you notice. The guy in the dreads, that's Walter Wallace Jr.
Okay. Now that I'm watching
around
this.
the cars, tell him drop the knife. I don't like that they cut out. I mean, I understand, but they already gave the warning. They should at least show the full thing.
It's also the Wall Street Journal, though.
Yeah. That's the mom right there reacting. I think the mom. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened right there.
Wild. So you said that he had a mental disability or something?
So they were actually called out there apparently 2 times earlier prior to this, and this is the 3rd time. I'm not sure. I don't know where it says, if it's in this article somewhere, if the particular call was for some kind of domestic disturbance or something else, what the particular call was for. But they were there 2 times prior. The 3rd call, though, apparently, they weren't calling for the police. They were calling for an ambulance because, yeah, he has mental disorders. Apparently he has bipolar, or I don't know if he has more than that, but they were calling apparently for ambulance help. And, yeah. And what's bothering me, though, before we get into our reactions and then further the riots, is I just don't like the narrative right now, or at least the talking points on both sides. It's just...
Okay, elaborate.
So I'm going to first start off with the right. Right now what they're trying to say is Walter Wallace lunged at him, which is justifying the shooting, or charging. It was lunging or charging at him. And you clearly see in the video he did not lunge or charge. He may have had a quick moment where he took a quick 1, 2, 3 step, but there was no lunge and there was no charge.
I think he kept pace with how he moved around the vehicle.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Like when the mom was trying to grab him?
I know what you're talking about. He's trying to get away from the mother probably because she was trying to grab him around that car. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So obviously another talking point would be the fact that the mom probably in the whole video, I mean, I can't hear it, but I'm pretty sure she's begging the police or explaining to the police that he's mentally, like, I just know as if it was my child, that's be the first thing I would be pleading to the police, like, he's mentally disabled, please. You know what I'm saying?
You got a mental problem.
Yeah, so.
Got a clinical problem.
Okay. Okay, and on the left?
The left is just, obviously just more of the same.
Innocent black guy shot by the cop.
Systemic racism.
Yeah, pretty much. Just another cop shot a black guy, you know, blah, blah, blah. Not looking further context. I'm not trying to take away what happened. Like, I completely do agree that I don't understand why they shot. I really don't. If the whole argument is de-escalation, there has to be other tactics, other methods, other training that they could have implemented. Like, where was the taser? I understand he had a knife, a quote unquote weapon, but like, let's at least be fair here, dude. You have a gun to his knife, like, and they kept their distance. Like, he was never an actual threat. And that's why I'm really not liking the narrative on the right saying he lunged or charged. Like, I don't know.
3 points.
Like, this job's hard at the end of the day. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know.
I have 3 points. 1, the cop's life is not more valuable than the civilians. That's my opinion. 2. If they knew, this is more of a question, if they knew he was mentally disabled prior to arriving at the scene, does his race play a role? And then 3, this is an actual point. The objectivity is coming from people who are now aware, not now aware, but more conscious of the tension between minorities and the police.
Okay.
And so what you have is people who are being objective on a case-by-case basis. Whereas the community isn't reacting based off of the case, and that's my opinion of why there's such a. I don't get the rioting. You know, like the people who are like, I don't want to say people who are sensible, but just people who are trying to be objective about it. Like they're not racist, they're not anti-black or whatever, but they're trying to be objective about this specific situation that goes on. So you'll look at the nuances of what's going on, da 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 da. But there's a group of people who are telling you they've been policed in a way that has been oppressive in a way. And may not be in the past, then it may not be in the past week or a month or whatever, but like generationally, they have been policed differently, okay? So now you're asking them to be objective on a case-by-case basis. That, to me, is where the impasse is. Because it's not necessarily, I need to look at the specifics of this case and then make my decision. I'm just so tired of this being the thing that I don't care about the nuances of the case. And so that brings me to my point of the police officer's life is not more valuable than the citizens. Yes, he has a family. Yes, he has everything that he's going on. But a firefighter
risk his life to put out that fire
and go in and save those people, putting back the civilian's life before his. So
does that sentiment not apply to a police officer in his situations?
The disconnect is they don't believe those rights apply to the people that they suspect. And that's where like another problem.
Till proven guilty kind of thing?
Exactly. So like if I'm being called for you, you don't have the rights to be protected. It's the people around you. So now I'm protecting.
Because I think that was, okay, go on, sorry.
I'm protecting myself, but
it's interesting.
I'm protecting the people around you because I don't view you as having those same rights. And so now that you don't have those same... You
made yourself a threat, and then to go with that threat, I got to protect everyone around here from the present threat.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now if we want to be objective about nuances and on a case-by-case basis, if you have that mentality of you don't have those same rights as me or the people around you, despite their color.
Or even lesser.
You know what I'm saying? Why?
Right, but I know what you mean, yeah.
Why? And I'm not saying those cops are racist or anything like that. I've said on multiple cop podcasts before that I think it's a lack of integration, it's a lack of awareness. You know, you're not interacting with these people like that on a daily basis. Yeah, so you're more on edge. Just to put it point blank, you're more on edge. So I think race does play a role in the nuances of the situation, but I don't believe I don't believe these interactions now are based on race, especially with officers at the very least knowing where society is or how society is looking at
especially how 2020 has been.
Exactly. So now there is race in it because there's a lack of familiarity. But that lack of familiarity is due to past racism or past segregation or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Just being not integrated together. So now this is just a ripple effect, if you want to say it. It's not the main cause of it, but I'm just saying because of a lack of, we're just now really integrating. So because of that, you're having these moments where it's, I don't understand and I don't understand. Yeah.
Just, overall abrasive.
So then, what should they do then? Should they just not show up if it's a black family because they're afraid of an incident?
See, that's
they only send a black cop? Like, they have to answer the call, and it's hard for them to do that.
I get what you're saying, but okay, so this is the thing with me conversationally. I don't believe in giving somebody.
Answer, though,
no. I don't believe in giving somebody an extreme as the only solution. So, like, an extreme would be only a black cop would go there, or an extreme would be they shouldn't come to it. There is a middle there, and we have to acknowledge that.
Comes down to what we've been saying, just the community. Like, the cops have to get to know the community.
Communities.
I don't know if
there should be actual. You see the way that NBA players and football players and baseball players have to do these little meet and greets with the town and the kids and that. There needs to be more positive interactions between police officers in the community and the communities that they're policing, so that way there's more. You know what I'm saying? I may know a cop by name.
And they don't need to make quotas because that entices them to want to find people.
What they should have done,
out of things
what they should have done is, if they're aware that somebody's mentally disabled, they either should have sent a negotiator or whatever the fuck they feel like they need to send, or the ambulance that was requested by the people.
See, that's why I'm curious if I could hear that call. Like, did they specifically say? She says right here that what they originally were, I don't know if it was intending or what they asked for, what it was an ambulance, not for police. And my question is, I would like to see the phone records and, like, how did she word it? Was there obviously a miscommunication there? Did she ask for ambulance? Did she just ask for help? Because the go-to help is obviously police.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something crazy about what you just said.
Okay.
If she did call for the police, that means everybody in the situation is mentally understanding. Calling the police is basically saying, come deal with him, instead of come calm him down. Why, even if she asked for the police, why couldn't the police come there and they could have tased him, they could have did whatever.
All right, here I found it. So the family also told the Inquirer the final call wasn't for cops to return, but rather for an ambulance to deal with a spiraling mental health crisis.
They described that the person had
Shaka
a knife?
Johnson, a lawyer of the Wallace family. So this might be lawyer talk. So I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, to get back on the subject, kind of talking about a little bit of police reform at the end of the day, I do like police reform. Anyway,
because it's a hard issue all around. Like, even if they sent a pro psychiatrist with a guard who's a police officer,
because at the end of the day, the man was walking around with a knife. But
for sure,
they would have been like, all right,
but there have been situations.
Go in there.
Like
that's your call.
That's my problem is there have been situations without race. There have been situations where people have had weapons. Like, there's a guy who shot up a church and he was able to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just depends on your patience. And at that point, the officers either lost their patience or whatever barometer you want to use.
I feel like it's a huge quality when it comes to
But you know what I'm saying? But they were done. And my problem is there are situations where the officers who aren't done, or we keep saying it, but it's really what happened to the tasers. Like, literally what happened to the tasers. That makes no sense to me. So it has nothing. I'm not bringing any race. I'm not bringing
it not work.
Exactly. Like, I'm not bringing any race into it at all. In my opinion, I'm literally saying I don't believe that was the best policing. And it sounds crazy to say, but when you're talking about lives,
let me bring up a fake deep thinking question.
Go for it.
So do you think police should be better trained in hand-to-hand combat? So part of their training is if you encounter someone who has a knife, your go-to isn't deadly force gun. You're trained to deal with this, engage him, disarm him, and then detain him.
Right.
I mean,
is that a radical idea when it comes to police?
Facts. I agree.
So that sounds legit. The hard part, though, is that would go against all of the, or I think a large part, because I think it would have to be a huge amount of reform within the actual police department or whatever, the way they do their policies.
We're talking about police reform, so let's talk about it, is what I'm saying.
But then, like, this is where it goes against the mainstream. You would then have to refund them to make your everyday cop a Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? And that's just hard,
like Navy
man.
SEAL is an extreme example.
Yeah, I just feel like we keep going to an extreme. I feel like we're propositioning this like the people are asking for too much.
Oh,
All I want to be able to, like, you Krav Maga, bro.
That kills people. Krav Maga is the art to kill another person. It's not to disarm them. The action after you disarm them is to stab them in the back. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you want to train people like that, like, you also have to increase the
it's
way
also
they're going
control.
to handle
Any
this stuff.
art, like, Doc, you do Muay Thai. I've done wrestling. Part of when you learn the ability to defend yourself goes with control. Like, when they teach you this stuff, part of the lessons are definitely control, restraint to a degree. That's why when, like, to get a little anime head in this, that's why in animes with stuff like this, when, like, dojos fight animes, there's always that one guy in the squad that just cannot control himself, and there's always that one guy in Street Fighter, Akuma, bro.
Like, it just goes too far.
Just goes too far. There's always that.
But what part of training is use your taser instead of your gun? Like, what part of Krav Maga is that? Like, what part of Muay Thai is that? It's not.
No, I agree, but I'm
So
saying
that's what
I
I'm
feel like
saying.
there's steps
Before the
taser
hand-to-hand
doesn't
combat,
work before you go. I feel like
no, you're
I just
right.
feel like it's a huge
You're
jump going from a
right.
taser to the gun.
You're absolutely
right. Because in
right.
this situation, the taser
I agree
didn't
with
work.
that.
Like
I agree with
sure,
what
be
you're
immediately.
saying, Gene.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying the argument against what you're saying
Okay.
is those arts are for killing as well, or those arts can be used to hurt people.
Fair.
I'm saying that's
but
not
there's more
fair
control within that
because
okay.
the hand-to-hand combat can be used to create distance. It can be used to do other things,
Yes,
and
I agree.
then you can use your taser.
Agree.
So that's what I'm saying. There's no training for, like, I'm agreeing with you 100%. There's no training for use your taser instead of your gun. Like that is a choice.
So it's just a mentality thing, is what you're saying.
Exact, and that's what we have to address. Like, I get where Doc is coming from, training, but we're literally just like we're asking, like we're asking for too much. Just try not to shoot people.
It should be that simple, right?
Like, I know I'm simplifying it by saying it, but they're simplifying it by not doing it.
Yeah, no. Just
I think it's gonna cause a gray zone though, in some sense. So like, some places are banning the chokehold. That is a way to subdue somebody without shooting them.
I
And so
completely
you can't.
agree.
So by policy, you can't chokehold somebody. So you can't use your gun. So you have to use your taser. The taser doesn't work.
Well, now if you grapple this person, I can't get it.
If you grapple them and you get them in a chokehold,
You're screwed now,
if
legally.
you're screwed. Yeah, you lose.
Yeah, for
You'll
sure.
get suspended or whatever. So what's left? Oh, I'm just gonna knee him in the head. We're gonna ban those too. Okay. So I'm just kind of like shooting like ideas out, but it's just like there's just a lot of regulation on them, and they also like, I mean, honestly, like, they're humans. Some cops are gonna have a sense of self-preservation. They're not all, I'm a hero and I'm going to, I don't know, like, just do some crazy cool movements to disarm this person.
But that's why they need to be able to defend
the
themselves. That's
taser
why
is
banning
the logical
chokeholds now, the
situation
only
that they
thing they
should
have
have
is
as
taser
non-lethal.
gun. That's why my issue
Yeah.
is like we've created a too big of a leap. They no longer have a middle ground. It's just taser then gun. They can't, like you just said, they can't chokehold because that's now illegal. They're gonna get in trouble. So there's no more taser, chokehold, gun. Now they can't even physically defend themselves because they'll get in trouble for doing any. And I understand sometimes cops like they go a little too far with their hits when it comes to those punches
Yeah.
and knees. But still, now you've taken that out. Now there's no longer taser, chokehold, or physical attacking. It's this took away too many steps to the point that, like, come on, like we're restraining our cops too much. I don't know, man. It's just
I think
police
I
reform.
think it also makes sense, like in Europe, where the cops only have batons, and only if the other person shows up with a gun do they call in a gun van to actually distribute weapons to the police officers. The difference there, though, is that the citizens do not have military armament. And I'm not saying, like, in this case it would be like the same because Walter Wallace only had
And
a
I get what
knife.
you're saying, like
I'm just saying
America's
that, like, the
heavily
cops have to-
armed. You know,
Yeah,
no,
so the cops have to be heavily armed because there's a problem with
A
an
probability.
assailant probably having an AR or something. So they can't completely clip their claws and then be like, all right, go out with a stick and stuff. And it's just like, fuck, like, you don't know.
go out with the stick and stuff. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just at the end of the day, it's just. Let's get to the riots. Actually, we talk too much about this. So, how do y'all then, I guess, feel about the reaction to the shooting, the riots, based off what we just saw and then what we talked about? What's your reaction to the riots? Because I didn't really show it in the video. I guess what I can do is real quick show you all the video and the beginning of some of the footage of the riots. So let me do that real quick. So boom, 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 the beginning of it. So let's go right here. All right, boom, beginning. So graphic warning. So this is them on the streets. What are they chanting? That is a car. Looks like a police car on fire, and that's a dumpster on fire.
Sheesh.
That is
They said 90
cops,
arrested.
riot, police now engaging. Now we're seeing some looting. An individual walking with some apparel. A truck running through police officers.
Oh, I heard that hit a cop. Yeah.
No one. I think no fatalities. Just right there, a broken leg. But a truck ran through some cops. Looked like a Dodge. Could be wrong. And then this is the incident. So yeah. So, what's y'all reactions?
It doesn't surprise me because of the
Way it's been going.
the zeitgeist. Yeah, like just the vibe of the country. And so some of those people are, out there protesting for what we've always been protesting for, and other people are out there to take advantage of the situation. Like, it's kind of fucked up, but it's like almost become commonplace at this point where it's just like, yep. Like, as soon as you guys told me about it, I was just like, oh, fuck, I bet the city's on fire. And then you showed me the videos, and I was like, yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
That's why I said that's why like this kind of encompasses my when I said earlier, like I don't like the left reaction or the right reaction, because this is kind of like the left reaction. It's kind of like, come on now, like this really? I don't.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people though have that same sentiment. Like, again, like for real, like another situation of this. Like, what? Like, what's wrong? Like, I think people at this point are just asking, like, what is it that?
Why does it keep like? What is the? What math common denominator do we? What math common denominator do we have that this just seems to just like keep happening? And it's not the person dying or it's on both sides. Like, why is it just not possible?
I don't think it's not possible. It's just clearly it comes down to police reform. Right now, the only problem is I would argue we're not even having the discussion.
Oh, for sure, we're not having the discussion.
Like, everyone at the very least can agree we want some level of police reform.
I would rebuttal against that, man.
No, I would actually rebuttal.
Okay.
I agree with Doc too. I know people who just literally just think these are either one-off situations or like the person should behave better. Like, their argument is police have families too and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, but I think even us
there's responsibility
here in this
on
podcast,
both sides,
talking
but
about
even
this though is us having the conversation. Like, I mean, we're not having it like in a massive town hall, but I think people all across the country, just like us, are having these conversations, man.
So you're saying the people who need
everyone.
to have it.
The people who need to have it, yes. Our elected officials aren't having the discussion.
It is being brought up though, because if you remember within the debate, one of the questions was, why do brown and black people feel like they need to have the talk, like the interactions with the authorities and stuff like that within our country? I mean, the answers were kind of like meh, but I'm glad that the moderator actually asked the question, because they were able, at least in my opinion, yeah,
I guess,
like hell yeah, like. Well, we got
the question asked, guys.
Right? Maybe in a few more years we'll get the answer.
I know.
At least an answer. I just don't agree with defund or abolish. That's definitely not the answer. I'm sorry.
I don't think any logical person who is even saying that, I don't think that's the actual sentiment. I think that's just the verb.
But that's I know, but that's so far the loudest one. I haven't heard anyone. That's why annoyance with we're not even having the discussion. All we're hearing is the loudest people. And the loudest people sometimes,
they're always. It's not even sometimes. The loudest people in all of these discussions that we've been having lately are the extremes. Like, it's Black Lives Matter talking to the Proud Boys. Like, the regular people are being lost.
Yeah, I was saying the sentiment.
I'd agree with that.
America's low-key losing its middle ground.
Oh, man.
We got to fight to keep that.
I think there are people who there's a fake middle, too. So there's so many, dog. Fake objective people.
That's why we got to fucking talk, guys. Fake deep thinking, man. Who cares, man? Just...
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching a clip of Fake Deep Thinking. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, like the clip, leave a comment, and check out our page for more content. Full episodes of Fake Deep Thinking are released every Friday on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Check it out.